Hong Kong Direct is your weekly racing wrap with news, views, previews, special guests and interviews coming up on the show today. We've got a very special interview with Frankie Dettori. Had an outstanding year with 19 Group 1s. Of course, he was here recently for the IJC night and Longines HKIR as well. And we're weighing in as well with Keith Young winning there on Hardly Swears at Happy Valley. Very well, welcome to the show. I'm Andrew Lejeune. Pleased to say I'm joined in the studio by HKD regular Graham Cunningham. Graham, what a great week it was, really, with all the big names in towns. Frankie Dettori, Ryan Moore, for IJC night and the internationals too. Yeah,
I think it was as good a week as we could have hoped for. 3 Japanese winners was a landmark day. Terrific performance from the likes of Glory Vars, more of him a bit later. And as regards the IJC, if beating a field that includes Moreira, Purton, Dettori, Ryan Moore, De Souza, etc., doesn't give you confidence, nothing will. And as we've seen from the last couple of weeks, Karis Teeton has rolled out of that IJC win to bigger and better things.
Yeah, incredible. 3 winners again midweek at Happy Valley. He's had a pretty decent December and a lead up to Christmas as well. That's Karis Teeton, though. Let's get back to Frankie Dettori, who's good enough to lend us some time here for the IJC as he sat down with Ed Sadler.
Well, Frankie, it's terrific to see you here in Hong Kong. 2019, 19 Group 1 winners, 250 overall in your career. This has been a pretty special year for you.
Yeah, I mean, my previous record was 16. It was back in the days when I was working for Godolphin, and a lot of those Group 1s were actually soft ones in smaller, in different countries. But to have 19, probably the main major races in Europe this year has been unbelievable. Only now then it's December time that I can sit back and reflect on what an amazing year than I had, and mostly thanks to my stable, John Gosden, that again he showed what an amazing trainer it is, because the spectrum of horses that he had in the stable this year, from Grey Marley like Too Damn Hot, Carrick's was an amazing sprinter, and then obviously the Superstar Enable, and then the Great Stare, Stradivarius, and then the fillies that we had winning the Oaks, the nice fillies, Coronet, Starcatcher, and Annapurna, and also winning the Ledger on Logician. So to have those kind of horses in the same year, I mean, if you have one in 1 year, I mean, it's amazing, but to have that kind of firepower in the same season is absolutely amazing, and I'm very lucky.
So when you get to the end of the year, like now, and you look back on all of that, is there a win amongst those 19 Group 1s that stands out above the rest?
For sure, it'd be the King George at Ascot. It was probably one of the most dueling and hard race than I ever won. It was 2 great horses. You need 2 horses to make a good race, and Crystal Ocean and Enable, they locked horns for the last 2 furlongs, and it was amazing. Amazing to be part of it. It was very tough, and it was good for the sport, and just shows that what a great filly Enable is. Not only she's a special horse, but she showed to the world she's got great guts and determination.
Well, I was there that day, so I can assure you from the grandstand it was also spectacular. The decision that she's staying in training for next season, did that surprise you at all, that you're going to get another go at the Arc with her?
I'm delighted. Of course I'm delighted. I mean, it's never been happened before that, but usually most of the good horses have really, they've been colts. They go to the breeding sheds as a 3 or 4-year-old. So to have a superstar filly in training as a 60-year-old, I am very excited, and it's good for the racing public, because now she's a big star. People can relate to her, not just in England but around the world. So it will attract more interest for racing, and also I'm delighted because she's a special horse and I love her so much.
Back in Hong Kong for the first time in 8 years, you've won 6 HKR races with the likes of Falbrav, Fantastic Light. When you come back here, what are the special memories from riding in Hong Kong?
Oh, great. I won 3 Hong Kong Cups. I came here when I was in my young days. I was 20, I think, for a month stint, and I have a lot of good friends here. It's a shame that in these latter years I never actually had a horse to come and compete again. So it's quite exciting to be back. And I've been a little bit on the world tour. Obviously, I did America, Australia, Japan, and here, and yeah, very excited to be back here.
Final question for you. In a couple of weeks' time, you turn 49.
Yeah.
What's the secret to this longevity, Frankie?
I enjoy what I'm doing, and I won, all the major races in the world, more or less. So I really try to hold to memories and to enjoy these last few years that I have. And the key is really the love of the sport. That's what keeps me going.
There's a real energy about Frankie as well. That was from a couple of weeks ago, IJC weeks. He had his birthday since there. But on longevity, Graham, you've got some numbers that back those stats up as well.
Yeah, it's fascinating to look at Dettori's history. He embraces all our racing lives. 49 last Sunday, 32nd year with a licence, practically all of them produced at the very top. But great sportsmen tend to redefine the way their game is played to a certain extent. He's done it. Go back to 1994, his first ever British title. He had 1,305 rides for 233 winners. This season, his best season ever in terms of Group 1s, he only had 255 rides in Great Britain. So in the NBA and in American sports, they call it load management, and he has evolved his game in a very, very unusual way. And this table's very instructive in many ways, not least if you're the wrong side of 40 and your career takes a bump in the road. It's not too late to bounce back. You have to have ability, brilliance and opportunity.
Staggering.
But if you look at 2019, 19, this is up to HKR, 19 from 55 in Group 1s. Drill down for him and Gosden together, I think it's better than 50%. It's 15, almost 50%, sorry, 15 from 31. Those sort of stats are very unlikely to be replicated ever again. But when you have Enable staying in training, Stradivarius, Logician is a real, not a secret weapon, but he is a weapon. And the fact that he's got Gosden on his side, the knees are still great, the ability and balance are still there. The omens for Frankie at 50 and beyond look very strong to me.
So 19 and 19, 20 and 20. And there was a couple high-profile ones that got away to a certain extent at the end of the season with Stradivarius at Ascot and Enable in the Arc, but he gets a shot now still at that elusive third. But it's not going to get any easier for Enable, is it?
No, it isn't. But I think she was slightly unlucky in this year's Arc in that the ground was soft. They went a very, very severe pace. Frankie was part of that very strong pace and just got mugged late on by Valgeist. But it's the best of news that she's going to be around because, as Frankie touched on there, to have a top-quality flat horse, especially as a filly, who stays in training, not just at 3, 4, 5, stays in again at 6, is gold dust for the sport.
Yeah, as he heads into his 50th year as well, Frankie, at his very best, shades of Mike Smith in actual fact, who's cited fitness as being one of the keys to his longevity as well. It's been a busy time here in Hong Kong with some comings and goings, and Berta Rispoli left very recently to set up new home in California. We've got a new jockey joining the ranks January 1. Tony Picone from France.
From France, early 30s, 700 and something winners, 4 Group 1 winners. He's going to come in with a lower profile than some, but that hasn't stopped plenty of good riders from France doing extremely well. French riders seem a very good fit. He comes very well recommended by Alexis Bedell, who's building his brand in a very sure-footed manner in Hong Kong. And I don't know Tony Picone, but you try to do your homework on these guys, and he comes recommended as a very positive, good-humoured guy. And that, as we know in Hong Kong, is a very important part of the jigsaw.
Well, that's an important point as well. You don't know Tony Picone, so international race fans might not be very familiar with him. So how's he going to fit in, do you think, with the local trainers and the expat trainers here?
Well, there is the slot. There is room, if not at the top, then there's room in the middle ground because of various departures, 2, 3, maybe 4 short on the jockey front in the new year. And he comes in with a clean slate. And if he gets a good start, and I'm sure Alexi will take him around the trainers and give him the introductions. So good luck to him. He's coming in on a 2-month deal, and we know that it's really difficult to make an instant impact in Hong Kong, but resilience is very, very important. And people like Bedell have showed that if you keep turning up, working hard, the breaks might just come in the end. So good luck to him, but he'll travel knowing that there are no gimmies in Hong Kong.
No, absolutely not. It's a busy time of year as well, so who knows, gets on a good horse in one of these good races, things fall right for him, could be off to a flying start. That's Tony Picone, January the 1st for him. Next up for us, we're weighing in with Keith Young, recently back from a suspension, and Keith will be the Q&A on the other side of this. Welcome back to Hong Kong Direct. Graham Cunningham, my special studio guest this afternoon. He'll be giving us his best of 2019 very shortly, as well as we look forward to Saturday's programme at Sha Tin. Also, first up, though, we're weighing in with Keith Young.
Definitely will be Elman Lee, and he was my first trainer, and I had my apprenticeship with him, and he definitely like changed me a lot, and he taught me a lot of things, and it's all because of him I'm still standing here. Although like I'm not agree with him all the time, but I think he's the guy that changed my life. It's funny to say, but I was never thought I'm gonna be a jockey. Like, my family were never interested in racing, and so do I. One day I was with my mom in the shopping mall, and it happened that the jockey club had this recruitment for the apprentice jockeys. So mom said, your size is small, so why don't you give it a go? So I tried it, I interviewed it, and I got in, and that's how I started. I won't say the biggest win, but the most memorable winner for me would be Team Venture. I think it was 2-3 years back when Elman still had him and trained him.
Keen Venture's wider out. Keen Venture's thundering home with Seasons Bloom. They're hitting the front in the middle part of the track, battling back Jolly Jolly. Keen Venture right out in the middle, and Keen Venture.
With that winner, Elman got his number 16th winner, and I was really excited. Usually when I take my winning photo, I just sit there and smiling. And with that winner, I literally like raised my both hands up. I was really, really happy. Not really. I'm not a sport guy. I know I'm a jockey, but I only do my training, but I don't follow any sports. So sorry, nope. Well, I used to play a lot of video games, but then now I sort of like grow up with it. Now I more enjoy like reading and just spend time with family and my pets. I have a dog and I have a cat from Sam Clipperton. When he used to have this cat when he's here, and then when he went back to Australia, he trusted me and passed his cat to me. It has to be Happy Valley. It was a tight track, and it has the best atmosphere in the world.
He really is a great guy, Keith, isn't he? And rode his 250th winner this season as well, so he's lost that £2 claim.
Yeah, and I didn't know how he came to be a jockey. Your size is small.
Perfect.
Away you go. But it's worked out really well for him. He's a 10-year veteran now,
yeah.
Keith Young. He's firmly established, and he knows that when the really big rides come along, he might not be at the front of the queue, but he takes his opportunities when he can, and he is now one of 5 active jockeys in Hong Kong who've passed that 250 winner barrier, and that's a very notable thing in itself, to have 5 homegrown jockeys all having passed that mark.
Yeah, the Sam Clipperton Cat story is a pretty good one as well. John Size uses him a lot on his really good horses in their trials as well, so that's a feather in his cap. It's only a matter of time before he starts getting the good rides. Hardly Swears has been a good ride for him at Happy Valley recently.
He was Keith's 250th winner, I think, a couple of months ago at Happy Valley. That horse is thriving at the moment, so horses like Hardly Swears are very important to Keith's future. And a really nice quote when he did get past the 250 mark. He said, "I've come to a place that I never expected." He certainly never expected 250 when his mum said, "Your size is small, off you go."
Yeah. Just on Happy Valley quickly, Wednesday night, last 2 races, Amazing Star and Big Party. They looked very special.
Yeah, and 2 pretty appropriate names with Christmas coming up, especially Big Party, who just demolished a pretty good field in the finale. And he's an exciting horse. His record is slightly uneven, Andrew. 4 impressive wins and 4 blobs when strongly fancied. But when he puts it all together, it's party time.
Yeah, those blobs, as you say, were fresh up, so maybe that's the key with him when he's getting beaten anyway. All right, so we move forward, though. It's Saturday at Sha Tin. We are 10 races, Saturday programme. This is the Class 2 over the 2,000 metres, headed by Insatiable. Mi Choi goes for the claim here. Jack Wong, Red Warrior, Blake Shin rides him. Savvy 6, Dylan Moe taking £3 off. Tianchi Monster, Chad Schofield behind the Coney Express last time out. A few of these were right choice. They go for the £10 claim there. A Richmond super run from him last time out. Glorious Dragon was a winner at Happy Valley, beating the Hulk. And High Rev, that was in IJC night. High Rev, lightweight on his back here, £2 off as well. High Rev was the horse that got Caris Teaton across the line for that IJC win. But this is a really strong lineup, Graham, over the 2,000.
It is. It's a brain burner of a handicap. It's wide open, lots of talented horses, but the most recent galloping clues have come in slow, quick, slow races where we had plenty of hard luck stories. That makes it difficult. And this could be a similar contest because although we could have Cordyceps, Helene Leading Star going forward, the pace is not guaranteed to be an end-to-end one.
Well, as we've just weighed in with Keith Young, I want to start with his mount there, Not Usual Talent. He had a good relationship with this horse last year.
He did, and he's back on Not Usual Talent for the first time this season. I like his chances. He was in over his head in Group Company on his second start. Last time, without much luck in running at all, and Richmond was third in that race. He finished 6th. He just gave the impression that he's building towards a peak performance. And although that was 1,600, go back to last season, and he seemed to see out the 2,000 more than adequately.
Yeah, and he actually rode Savvy 6 to victory 2 starts back and was out of the money last time, but still a good run.
Yeah, I don't know whether he had the choice this time, but I'd like to think he's on the right one in Not Usual Talent, who is still an untapped potential over 2,000.
The Glorious Dragon and High Rev rematch here. Glorious Dragon was Stevenson's Rocket, and he raced in the UK. It's taken him a while to find his feet, but now he has. He looks like he might go through the grades, but I'm a big fan of High Rev as well.
I am as well. Those 2 horses clocked very strong closing splits at Happy Valley. It was an unusual race. High Rev was drawn 10. He got well back. I think he was compromised by the way the race developed. He's slightly better off at the weights with Glorious Dragon. I think they're both really interesting horses. They're banging form, and I see no reason why they shouldn't be fully effective back at Sha Tin.
And the Nakoni Express race that he won, Shafano finished second with a whole stack of them in behind. He's the choice of Joe Moreira for lightweight. Yeah,
Joe rides him for the first time. That's significant. He came home very strongly. Elaine Leading Star was just behind. Savvy 6 was just behind. Tianchi Monster wasn't far behind, etc., etc., etc. Cordyceps wasn't too far behind. So I think from that race, Shafano's bound to be popular with Joe aboard for the first time. Helene Leading Star should go well. But it's a super tough race. But it's interesting that we've had Keith Young as featured on the show today, and I think Keith Young might just be in the headlines again this weekend.
It's sometimes funny how that works out, time like that. Right Choice is an interesting one in the sense they've taken £10 off, so he's got £107 to carry. Sort of lost his way, but it wouldn't be a massive surprise if he sort of came back to something.
Yeah, he was eased right down in the race we just mentioned last time, but with the £10 claim, perhaps, now you mentioned him, he could be one of the ones to go forward with the £10 claimer on board. But this has to be a 7-2, 4-1 to field race. It has all the makings of a really, really open affair.
All right, so this isn't just because Keith was on the show this week, but you do actually find he's the tip, is he?
The 2 horses I was keenest on are Not Usual Talent and High Rev. I think they both have plenty of upside. But I like Keith, and I like this horse, and I like the fact that he's back to 2,000 metres. So Not Usual Talent, appropriate name. for a jockey who is a really, really positive presence on the Hong Kong scene.
He certainly is, yes. All right, I'll stick with High Revel for lightweight for him. Now, as far as the week ahead is concerned, Saturday, don't forget, for our racing this week, the Pierce Memorial Challenge Cup race number 7 is the trophy race. Then Boxing Day, we're back at Happy Valley for 9 races once more, 6:45 the first. And then Thursday, Sunday, the Griffin Trophy and the Bohemia Sprint Trophy, a handicap down the straight, Group 3 contest there. And then we're into 2020, the New Year's programme, Be Your Honours, and then we're heading towards a 4-year-old series and beyond.
We'll be on the Derby Trail before we know it. But before then, we've got the Christmas holidays, some more holidays than others. But happy Christmas to everyone. It's been great to be part of this show for the last few months. I think we've got a really good venture going here, and I'm delighted to play a small part.
Absolutely, yeah. And we've got a couple of quick shows coming up as well next week as well. So we sort of set it up at the start, Graham, speaking with Frankie Dettori, who was here for the IJC week. Hopefully he'll be back again next year as well. But in terms of a performance for 2019, the calendar year, you're going for something. You haven't got to go back too far to find what you think was one of the performances of the year.
Yeah, a bit of recency bias, perhaps a bit of pocket talk, and we should never forget what Beauty Generation and Exultant have done for Hong Kong racing this season. But I was super impressed by Glory Vase in the Hong Kong Vase. That was a mighty deep field, half a dozen Group 1 winners in there. He wasn't one of them going into the race, but coming out of it with Joe Moreira on for the first time. He looked a really good horse. Time form 127, likely to be mid-120s when the world rankings are divulged in January. In other words, this is a horse who is absolutely thriving now, and that performance wasn't too far behind Enable, Valgeist, Crystal Ocean and company. Tremendous performance.
All right, my thanks to Graham. My thanks to you for watching as well. We'll leave you then with Glory Vase in the Vase, one of the performances of 2019, and hopefully we can count on your company again on Saturday, bringing all the action from Hong Kong direct to you.
Purton's getting away with cheap sectionals here on Exultant at the 800, leads by a length and a half. Anthony Van Dyke has been stalking him everywhere he goes. Southern Legend, then Aspetar. Prince of Arran's had a lovely run, but he needs an out. Glory Vase was next. He's about to work into the clear. Mount Everest is under pressure. Then Lucky Lilac, True Self. Followed then by Deirdre, who whips around them with Call to the Bar. They corner in and Exultant set sail for home. Turned in front with a length advantage. Southern Legend, then Prince of Arran. Glory Vase is now emerging. Anthony Van Dyke and Lucky Lilac steaming down the middle, along also with Deirdre. Glory Vase raced up to Exultant. Lucky Lilac wider out Deirdre. Glory Vase is powering away for Moreira from Exultant and Lucky Lilac. And it's the empire that is Japan winning the Vase again. Glory Vase extraordinary.